Mark Kelso, part of the Buffalo Bills broadcast team, a loss week number 4 to the Packers. Mark Kelso, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Well, okay. Listen, tough game, tough day on Sunday. What's the takeaway? What did you take away from Sunday?
Aaron Rodgers is one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's a difficult task. There's no question about it. I thought defensively that they may have difficulty stopping them, and they have a lot of weapons. Randall Cobb was out, so that depreciated their offense just a little bit. But they have got a lot of weapons, and they try to rely on some personnel mismatches. I mean, Jimmy Graham got free a couple times. Devontae Adams caught a lot of balls. And you know, when you have a running game going, and they seem to get their running game going a little bit as well with Jones back in the lineup. And then you get the play-action pass working as well. I think Aaron Rodgers was able to hurt them with their feet a little bit. And then offensively, they just the Bills. I mean, they struggled to maintain any consistency. Didn't have a real rhythm to the offense. LaShawn McCoy he probably touched it more than 10. I think he caught 5 balls and ran it 5, but was targeted a number of times. Other than that, in the passing game, and it was incomplete. But he's got to touch the ball. In my opinion, he's got to touch the ball 20 to 25 times a game if the offense has any opportunity to establish some consistency, moving the ball down the field.
That offensive line, boy, Josh Allen was just running all over the place. Did you take any? I read one story where they described it as he matured somewhat during that game, and he handled the very difficult game well. What's your take on that?
Handled it well from a competitive standpoint. I don't think he got frustrated, and young quarterbacks can tend to get frustrated. I mean, I don't think you can't point to one specific thing. The offensive line broke down at times. He held the ball at times. He didn't have receivers open early in the down at times. So that's 3 components of it. They didn't have a great running game and weren't able to muster much space in the running game. So that plays into it as well, because now you don't fool them in any situations. It's 2nd and 7+. You're probably going to throw the football. And so they know that, and so they're a half a step ahead of you instead of being a half a step behind. And then from a coaching standpoint, they've got to try to scheme plays that are going to allow receivers the opportunity to get open early in the down and have Josh Allen get rid of the football. And he's got to find his first target. I mean, he's not right now, as he matures as a young quarterback, it's much more difficult to read from left to right or right to left, whatever the case may be. But you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, you're going to need to take your first or second option, and then you're going to be able to use your legs to maybe buy a little bit more time and throw the ball downfield or throw the ball away. He did. He did learn some things. Again, he didn't show any frustration. He continued to have enthusiasm to continue to play and compete. And I think that's one of the things Coach McDermott mentioned in his post-game press conference about that. He thought the guys competed well, and they did. They didn't always play well, but they competed throughout the game. And there's 2 things he did. So when he escaped and he was running towards the Bills sideline and he threw that interception, I think that was Alexander, or maybe who intercepted that first pass, against his body in the middle of the field. Well, as a quarterback, you never throw late across the middle in the red area, particularly when you're running away from your throwing arm. He throws with his right hand. He's throwing back to his left. There was really nothing on that ball, and then that's a lesson that you can learn. And hopefully, when you get into a big situation, you're able to convert as opposed to create a turnover. And then I thought he learned it, but then later in the game, he did almost the same thing out near midfield, but again, it didn't result in an interception, but he threw it late across the middle again. I mean, that's something, again, that you just cannot do. So it's going to continue to be a growth process. There's no question. They need to find a receiver. I mean, there's nobody on this roster offensively that has more than 6 catches on the season, and that means there's a couple things. One is, I mean, again, it's a combination of all those components that we just talked about, and somebody needs to differentiate themselves at the receiver position so that he has a go-to receiver in critical situations.
Talking to Mark Kelso. Mark, of course, played for the Bills, part of the Bills broadcast team, and we're talking about the Sunday loss to Green Bay.
So I want to switch back to the defense for a second. As a Packers fan, I'm very hypercritical of a lot of aspects of their game, and one of the things they struggle with sometimes is their offensive line. And I was really surprised that with how good Buffalo's rushing defense typically has been, that Rodgers had a surprising amount of time to throw a lot of his passes.
Yeah, and it didn't appear to me. I mean, watching it live, that they brought a whole lot of pressure. I mean, there were a couple times that the Bills brought some pressure packages, but they didn't bring them too many. And he's got he did have some time to stand back there, but he's really, really good at just moving subtly inside the pocket and creating some opportunities to extend it down. So you've got these little cavities that develop inside the pocket depending on where the pass rusher's coming. If Fury's coming outside, there's probably going to be a little spot, just a step forward and a little bit to Aaron Rodgers' left, and he'll just take up that space. And so it seems like he's in the pocket for a long time, but he's not actually in the same spot, so he becomes a moving target. And if you can push those guys by, he can slide into that open space and then deliver the football downfield. They had their running game that went pretty well also. Mm-hmm. Again with Jones back in it's Jones, right?
Yeah, it is.
I keep forgetting his name, but yeah, Jones back in the lineup.
They always got a new one. It seems.
Guys,
yeah.
But those guys are powerful. It was Williams and Jones, and both those guys really strong, really good contact balance, and then when you have that going, then he's able to extend it down. And a couple times they kept extra blockers in, so he extends it down. They go play action pass, and then he hits Devontae Adams coming all the way across the formation, and he started on his left side and he threw it on the right hash probably. Yeah. And that play took a lot of time, but they kept extra blockers in to facilitate him the time that was needed for that play to develop. And that's really hard. And that was Ryan Lewis covering him in that situation. And he has played really well for a young player with his getting his real first breath of experience here in the NFL. But that's a tough task. I mean, you're max protecting. There's a lot of time. Aaron Rodgers is deadly accurate. And now you're trying to cover Devontae Adams with a young guy, and he didn't get much separation, but just enough for Aaron Rodgers to fit it in. So, I mean, it's a combination thereof. It's never just one thing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mark, quickly, the NFL seems to be trying to figure out what roughing the passer is. What's your take on it? Because it seemed like, well, it was. There weren't, the first half there were no calls in the NFL?
Not in the first game. 1 o'clock games didn't seem like there were any.
So what's your take on roughing the passer right now?
Well, my take is that those guys are the marquee players in the league, and fans want to see offensive execution. They want to see a lot of points scored and big plays down the field. And if you have those guys, I mean, you keep your game vibrant and exciting. And if you don't have some of those really good quarterbacks and they get injured and you don't protect them in some way, shape, or form, it depreciates the quality of the product on the field. So that's part of it. I do think. I mean, I'm not a big fan. Look, it probably doesn't come with any surprise that I'm not a big fan of defensive backs that like to roll their back and dive at guys' knees and don't wrap up and make a tackle. And the tackling, you talk about one of the things that the Bills haven't done particularly well, which they typically do well, is tackle. Yeah. I mean, they've missed a bunch of tackles, and you see it all over the league on a weekly basis because you have guys going in there and diving at guys' legs, and then they're hurdling defenders. But, look at they keep talking about it, that they say, well, there's nowhere to hit. We can't hit up high. We can't hit down low. You can hit from the shoulder all the way down to the bottom of the thigh, which is 2/3 of the body. Mm-hmm. So you got a big striking target. You can hit it with the front of your shoulder, and you can wrap and roll. And if you do those things, then it's going to be a clean tackle. It's going to be a hard tackle, and you're going to bring the player down. So from the sack standpoint, if you leave your feet, and this is my own perception, and I haven't talked to any officials about it, but if you leave your feet, or if you hit the quarterback, and when they see both players falling to the ground, if they see both of your feet off the ground, they're going to assume that all of your body weight is on the quarterback, and if that's the case, they're probably going to throw the flag. So what you need to do is like Aaron Donald did a couple weeks or last week on Thursday night when he just ran in and grabbed the quarterback around his shoulders and threw him to the ground. And if you don't have that ability, then you hit him with your shoulder and you wrap and you roll, and that player kind of rolls on top of you, but you take him down and you don't engage the flag. So it's going to be some muscle memory. There's no question about it because it's a little different than players are used to. But they can do it. They're extremely athletic. guys, and they certainly can accomplish it. It's just going to take a few repetitions.
Should they add a pillow to the uniform, just in case, to tuck underneath there?
They might want to think about adding a pillow or some type of soft component to the back of the quarterback's helmet. Yeah, because sometimes they do slap the back of their head on that on the ground. There's no question about that. And I understand. Look, I'm all about the physicality of the game, but I'm not about. I'm about honoring the tradition of the game and honoring your opponent at the same time. And I don't want to go to guys' knees, and I don't want to go to guys' heads. But I'm telling you what, if he's coming and he's running across the middle, here's a good example. So Clinton Dix had the interception late in the game, right? The pass intended for Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that should have been a targeting hit because it was a big collision. Clinton Dix never saw Kelvin Benjamin. Never. He looked at the ball the entire way. He was going for the ball. That's the way the play should happen.
Yeah.
If, in fact, there's a big collision, it's incidental to the play because he didn't target him. He didn't lower his shoulder. He didn't lead with his helmet. He went for the ball the entire way, ended up with the interception. Unfortunately, resulted in a collision and a temporary injury to Kelvin Benjamin. But that's a big hit. That's an exciting play, and that's a play that, in my mind, is completely legal and demonstrates the toughness and the ferocity of the game, but at the same time a clean part of the game. And Kelvin Benjamin, wasn't out for too many plays. He just got shaken up a little bit and was able to come back into the game later on. So that was a good thing as well.
And the defender's got to have a right to the ball too. Like you said, if he's playing the ball, I mean, he's got to have a right to be out there on the field and
to try and get it.
It
was almost simultaneous when Dix caught it. That's when the hit happened. It's unfortunate.
Quickly,
there's no question. And even myself, when I played, there are times when you had some big collisions. Honest, guys, I never saw the player ever.
Right.
Ever. You're always looking for the ball. I wanted the ball. I didn't care about the player. If the player catches it and I hit him and light him up, well, if he still catches the ball, then I didn't do my job.
Right.
I mean, the job is to deflect the ball, to make sure that the play is incomplete. And in my estimation, the best way to do that is to keep your focus on the ball and make sure you're going for the ball. And if there's contact, it's incidental to that pass.
Yeah. Quickly, a quick preview of this weekend, Bills Titans.
It's hard to do that because I haven't watched very much film yet. I mean, I'm starting to study the Titans. They're dynamic offensively. They really are. And that being said, I don't think that's the best part of their game. It seems like defensively they're playing exceptionally well, but they've got a lot of weapons offensively. They will make you think. I mean, you can see that Vrabel cut his teeth in New England with his time there playing, and he understands that he is going to make the defensive unit think. He's going to do things that look like one thing, and it's going to be something else. And Marcus Mariota is still running the quarterback read, and he has some real capabilities with his feet. So when that happens, and he has the ability to run the football, and I'm not a big fan of that as a fan or an observer, because I think the quarterback can't hold up if he gets hit too many times, but he does have the opportunity to do that. That means you have to add an extra defender to the box, because if he pulls it out and goes and you don't have that additional defender, he's going to find some room, into the secondary and be able to muster some ground with his feet. He's carried the ball a whole bunch, 25 or 27 times on the season so far. So it will be interesting to see. They're playing at a really high level. Certainly will be coming in with a lot of confidence after beating the Philadelphia Eagles last week.
As always, Mark Kelso, we appreciate it. We'll do it again, and thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Have a great week.
All right, you too. Mark Kelso, Buffalo Bills.